Hello!
And welcome back to Trouble at the Tavern,
a D&D podcast!
Video podcast!
Woo!
Okay, just this time. Well,
Just this time.
where we're finally turning our shots of fireballs into shots for your eyeballs.
Wow, video puns.
Yeah.
Nice.
Video pun on a video
Yes.
day.
It's video pun, it's tavern pun, it's D&D pun.
Okay, stop patting yourself on the back.
Welcome to our second Q&A.
Yeah!
we did it.
We've spent the last month kind of compiling the questions from listeners, and we thought, as we're taking a little break from Chapter 2 and Chapter 3, why not provide a little insight into the world of Hallow, our podcast in general, and even ourselves?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you haven't realized, this is a video podcast. We did say it a bunch of times. So if you are listening to this on a podcasting
Hop
device,
on over to YouTube.
Might have
hop on
missed it.
over to YouTube.
Or
That's
TikTok.
YouTube at
This is gonna
Trouble
appear
at the
there.
Tavern. Yeah.
I
Follow us
think
on
they- I think-
socials.
I think they got it from the Eyeballs pun.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
the
that
Eyeballs fun
specifically
really
led
sold
us to the video aspect of this.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you.
It's
My
been
name
please.
Okay. My name is Chris Black, and I am your Dungeon Master for this podcast. Join with me, as always, Michael Pukasevich.
Hello, Michael Pugacevich as Michael Pugacevich today at this table.
Very nice. Hartley Fanson.
Hi, my name's Hartley Fanson. I am playing a person who plays a paladin.
Nice. Still a
Thank you.
paladin.
Debatable.
Yep, didn't know.
And last but certainly not least, Maggie Pelud.
I'm Maggie. Hi.
Hi, Maggie.
I'm here too.
It's been a long time since we did one of these.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a long time since we finished a chapter.
Yeah.
Nice to be
Big
back.
deal.
It's nice to be back.
A
in
lot
this
has
space.
happened.
Indeed,
Yes.
indeed. Speaking of which, we have a lot to get to, and for once, I'm not the host for this thing, so
Oh.
why don't we get Hartley to take it away with some of these questions?
All right. We got so many amazing questions from so many people. It was a little bit shocking to see the amount of questions that we had, so we're going to get through as many as possible. The way we figured kind of go around it is group them in terms of categories in segments. So we're going to go into our first segment.
Massive spoiler warning. Sorry,
Oh,
just
yes.
for
Huge. Yes.
sorry, just before anything, before you actually listen in. So sorry for turning you away now, but
Yeah.
massive spoilers up until the end of chapter 2. If you have not finished up to episode 23,
23. Yeah.
do not listen to this. Turn it off.
Yep.
Go back, listen to those, come back. You'll enjoy it more then. And I think we start hot with potential spoilers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
please
and
don't.
That's really crazy that you say that, because the first question is just, who is Ferret Silverbeard and how is he the BBEG?
And if
That's
you're
not the
watching
See what
this,
you did?
if this is the first thing you're watching from our podcast and you've gone this far and you're still watching,
Go back to
no, you know
episode
what?
1.
Let's get crazy. Let's do it.
Start
Come
20,
on in.
Yeah,
Why
start
don't you go
25 and
backwards?
work your way back.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the first segment that we are calling DM's Discretion. So, Chris, I'm glad you're drinking there because you got to warm up those taste buds.
And I'm glad the Curling and Taco
the
shirt has
form.
made an appearance today.
You forced me to
Yeah,
wear
I know
this.
I did.
So
You're
we call
thematic.
this section DM's Discretion, where we're going to ask you questions that you can choose to answer, or if it is a little bit too much of a spoiler, can choose not to answer.
I won't answer any of them.
Great. Moving on to the next segment.
That's how many
for
questions do we
writing
burn
it.
there? 7 questions gone.
The first set of questions, we've got 2 in from Austin. First is, what
Austin,
is...
Texas, or Austin, a person? Austin?
This is crazy. It's
A
Austin,
human?
Texas.
His last
We
name
got
is...
it from the
States.
we got it from the place.
No, his actual last name is Texas.
I don't believe that.
Nor should you.
First question from Austin. Chris.
Yes.
What is your thought process for resurrecting a character or not? Did you have a plan before the campaign started to bring back an adventurer if they died?
That's a great question. To put it bluntly, I don't have a plan for any of them because
we know. We know.
I never go into a fight thinking, oh, it'll be easy or oh, it'll be hard. So I never want to have the expectation that a character might die because I think that's almost enjoyable for me in a fight. But I will say, and you guys don't even know,
I love
Oh.
killing people.
Murder
I will
is
say,
great.
spoiler alert, when Dillon died and that whole thing happened with Dillon and the voice in the afterlife and then he came back, that was the only relevant to Dillon. If Clue or Minx had died,
We were dead.
it would be dead.
Ah.
This is the first
That's
I'm
the first
hearing
time
of this.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
surprising.
Oh
Okay,
my
cool.
word.
So I'll say that. But besides that, I like
so
to.
rude.
I like,
Yeah, I really like Clue. Don't tell me that.
well, that's why I think I like to have death feel so like final and like the stakes are so high during fights is because like you guys don't know whether or not you're going to come back. Like in a lot of D&D, it's like, well, there are ways to bring people back, but in this world that I like to play in with you guys, it's like, well, we don't know if we're going to see these characters again. So you really want them to stay alive, and you really care about every decision you make in a fight.
That actually perfectly leads into Austin's second question.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Chris just took a look at my constitution and was like, okay. If anyone's
gonna die.
If anyone's gonna die, it's gonna be Dylan. I gotta figure something out here.
The baby needs a backup.
Yeah, baby needs a backup.
Austin's second question for you, Chris. When the adventurers, us, are struggling in combat, do you decide on the fly to give us hints, i.e. Big B's chopping down his tree? Or do you bring in NPCs to help? Or is that a pre-planned, like, after a certain amount of time type thing?
I never bring them in to help. I always plan my fights to have like stages, because I think it's also really interesting to have like dynamics in a fight and how it's constantly adapting.
It is very cool.
When I have characters say like, oh, why don't we chop down a tree? Or like one of the NPCs shoots like a glass and a huge tidal wave comes into like the Rogar's lair. It's never to like give you guys an advantage to help. It's just to keep the fight going. So like some of the fights you guys have had, like they get harder and harder the more times I interject with like inputs and like sometimes NPCs ideas.
Again, we know.
It is funny though, like it took Dylan to die for a voice to be like, maybe take off Big B's hood.
Yeah. And it's still didn't end the fight.
Yeah. Okay. Good tip.
Yeah.
They don't come off in the tips is what I'm saying, and they come after someone potentially dies.
Yeah. But it just is a way to keep the fight going, because I know like sometimes I make the fights hard to know what direction you guys have to take. So it's more about, let's not make it easier. Let's just make it more exciting and keep it going for the audience and for you guys.
Yeah,
Totally.
absolutely.
Totally.
Okay. On to our next question, and in fact, our next submitter of a question.
Oh.
This question comes from Anthony.
Anthony!
Very nice.
Is Chapter 3, the upcoming chapter, when we're going to start
It is.
seeing
Chapter 3 is next.
the occasional guest player asking for a friend? DM's discretion, yes or no?
Oh.
Interesting. So for all of you who finished Chapter 2, as you know, Chapter 3 will take place in the Feywild, and it is a place where there's going to be an exuberant amount of different characters and personalities. So there is a possibility to bring in someone who's going to be a little wild, a little kooky. So I can't confirm or deny, but we'll see.
Little silly Billy
nice.
in the
So he
Feywild.
chose not to answer.
Yeah,
All right.
It was a half answer.
It was a
It was a half
You
answer.
gave me permission at the start of this.
It's true.
Yeah.
Anthony,
It's
you
true.
could submit your resume to be
Yes.
a tiny little gnome in the Feywild, is what that sounds
Go
like.
ahead.
Yes. Yes.
I would
please
like a
do.
cover letter as well,
do.
please.
Yes. Yes.
Here's why I want to be a gnome.
Okay. Next question comes in, part of this segment, from Thomas.
The tank engine?
Stop reading the sheet, all right? This question from Thomas. I really want to know more backstory about the Wandering Wonder.
Oh, me too.
Oh.
Before its closure, has it always traveled? Where did it come from? Where will it go now? How is it governed and organized? Do the events and attractions change? Thank you. Love, love, love the pod. That's all one question.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank
You
you.
get all
Thank
that?
you.
I did.
Okay.
Yes. And actually, see, there's a follow up to it as well from Colin that also relates to the Wandering Wonder. So maybe
Yes.
we'll
Yeah.
address that as well, because he wants to know the impact on all of like everything at the end of Chapter 2 and whether or not
they're
there's
with Ferretin or not.
exactly yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
So without giving too much away about the Wandering Wonder, because I like to have it a little mysterious.
Yeah.
Its origin is made by gods, right? As we kind of figured out, it was made by Evandra, the god of like traveling and mystical and like fun. And
As we all know
Yes.
and remember.
Yeah.
Equally.
yeah.
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 And it's a very kind of neutral festival, right? Where it goes and travels to the different planes of existence. So it doesn't origin from a certain plane. Like it's not from Hallow, it's not from the Fae, it's not from like the astral plane or anything like that.
Yeah.
It just takes a little bit of all these places and just creates a huge festival. So wherever it goes, it is special because it's something that people have never seen before. So yes, it constantly changes. There's constantly new attractions, things like that. And in terms of its impact with everything that's going on in Hallow, it did leave, but it seemed like when you guys first heard all of the gossip in the hidden pool, they were concerned, right? It didn't seem like they were like excited for what was
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
So without giving too much away, I would say they're not aligned with Ferretin, but
Okay.
they still don't know exactly what's happening, why all this is happening. They just know that Hallow is not currently the safe place to be right now, so we should go because this isn't really matching our vibe of whimsy and wonder.
I have a feeling we're definitely like, this isn't the last time we're going to see the Wandering Wonder in the story.
I hope not.
I feel like it's going to come back around.
Yeah, and I think while it was a very fantastic question to ask, I really, after meeting Ferret and Silverbeard, the first words that came to mind were not whimsy and wonder. So yeah, I would have assumed that, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Chris.
Great question.
Moving on, our next question comes in from a submitter who calls himself Igor Pumpkin.
Igor
Pumpkin, totally normal name.
How do they know the name of my next NPC? emoji?
Igor Pumpkin. That's the first person that we're going to meet in the
Do you,
Fae.
Chris, have any particular narrative or media influences in your world building? How make story so good? And that question, almost in verbatim, also came from Anthony. So I want to
How make
acknowledge
story so good? Wow, that's a great. Every time I think of what I want to do next in the campaign, I just think of like 10-year-old me with his eyes like 10 inches away from the TV, just watching all these like fantasy movies, TV shows, and be like, I want to get that feeling,
God,
right?
That's so fucking cool.
But
That's a good answer.
But at the same time, like it's very much collaborative storytelling. Like some of the stuff that's happened in like chapter 1 and chapter 2, like I could have never have come up with on my own because like
I told you to make Ferretin and the whole world of Hallow.
I was
just
struggling.
Admit it.
It was episode
Just admit
21, and I was like, Hartley, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Wait, you guys had a private conversation about
The idea.
What the heck? What about Maggie and I? You can't leave us behind. You can't make big
Totally
changes about
joking.
us.
Chris knows more about my backstory than I do.
That's what makes it fun.
I think
We'll
that's
get to it
relevant
later.
for all of us, but yeah.
True. Yeah.
But I think a big part of it too is like the way that we make the story so good is just by fleshing out like all the cities and all the characters that you guys interact with. So to make them feel real, right? Like it is a game, but at the same time, like it's so much more fun to like play and listen to when like you're totally invested in the world. So like
100%.
Yeah, Chris. We're so invested in the world. We write great backstories and we give you all these loved ones. It's so fun.
So many
Yeah,
loved
so
ones.
so fun that it would be such a shame if they all died.
It'd be a shame.
This is just Chris's internal monologue. It would be a shame if I.
But I will say,
killed them.
I will say, just piggyback. Sorry, I was gonna say piggyback riding. I was gonna say piggybacking off of that.
you're going back to chapter 1. That was the Prince of Pelor festival.
Yeah.
Right. You do breathe a lot of like beautiful life into all of these worlds,
And you breathe a lot into the mic too as an editor. Oh my god.
It's true. I do. But at the same time, like whenever I try and give like really dense descriptions, it's just what I'm picturing in my head. So I just want to try and like have that same image in front of you guys. Because like even though I'm seeing you guys from across the table, I really am only seeing that 10-inch screen in between me and like my childhood, really.
And you're so good at it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Just between Q&A 1 and Q&A 2, we should get to a myriad of remaining questions, but the quality in which DMs, or like our DMs, storytelling has like just, I don't know, enhanced.
Yeah,
it's been
it's cool to see.
Incredible.
It's cool to see where we started and where we are now.
Anyway,
doing a
Thank
second
you,
Q&A.
Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
I'm just glazing you, and then I'm gonna like
sipping the curls.
I've read ahead. I know there's some slander
Hartley's
coming
gonna
my way.
yell at you in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, we're getting there.
I
We're
have some
definitely
things to
getting
yell about too.
Great. This is why we switch sides so you can be closer to
Yes.
me. Okay, more intimidating. I like
Mike's gonna be here next time.
it. And I'm going to be off the podcast.
Holding a gun to your head.
Underneath the table.
Why, Chris?
All right. So then the final question from the DM's discretion segment comes from Paulo. And again, you can choose not to answer this if you want.
Oh,
How do you take your coffee?
that's such an embarrassing question.
Oh, I can answer this question.
Chris,
I can
how
answer
do
this
you take
question.
your coffee, motherfucker?
It's not it's an ice cap.
Listen.
It is.
Chris,
It's
you
an
can
ice
change
cap.
A
your
sugary
answer.
sweet treat is what it is.
I can't because you already admitted it.
Doesn't drink coffee, guys.
Listen, I am a child and I've never had a full cup of coffee in my life before. So in order to get my caffeine intake, I have to add mainly sugar.
that 10-year-old kid with the screen, it's right in front of his face, also sipping on an ice cap.
How did?
Sorry.
No, go for it. Go for
No,
it.
it is just so funny though, because you know when Chris has had an ice cap, because he will come in and it's like,
Oh my
just
God.
full
He's like,
dancing around the like just
Like when a
crazy
10-year-old
eyes,
has
just
coffee. coffee.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Like
it's
when a
right
10-year-old
before
does
a
coffee.
terrifying battle, and Chris waltzes
and
in.
we'll
We're going into
get there in a
warehouse.
second.
Yeah.
I did want to ask.
Sorry.
I love the question of coffee. How did you guys all start drinking coffee? Because for me, I started off like I forced myself as a kid to drink coffee by just ordering 4x4s at Tim
College.
Hortons.
4x4s.
Yeah, 4 cream and 4 sugar.
I
was
say
like,
anything.
I want to drink coffee. I'm going to start
Oh my
with a
God.
cake and move my way to normalcy. And now I do regular coffees, sometimes just with milk.
See, I'm
But-
there. I'm there now.
Yeah, at the 4x4s.
Give me like 5 to 10 years,
Yeah.
I'll probably have a
Just
double-double.
college. There were Tim Hortons like all through campus, and so like
But we just
lived
rocking
off.
regulars?
No, only iced coffee for a very long time.
Nice,
I never
okay.
got into iced coffee. I can't do the
Wow.
sugar. I can't. But
So
like I
just-
would drink iced coffees constantly. Like every time I went to a class or critiques, like I went to the school, I just kind of had one.
One
It
milk.
was exposure.
Like a 1 milk, right? Or like a 1 cream.
Yeah, 1 milk, 1 sugar.
One
but
sugar,
that's
1 sugar,
also
yeah.
like now
Yeah.
it's just like ice, almond milk, tiny bit of sweetener.
Yeah.
Easy.
Nice.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
But they're like big enough that I'm like I can like nurse this for like 2 hours.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
Or black coffee.
I've got a very clue standy answer.
Please.
Black,
Yeah.
Black coffee.
1 sugar
When'd you
sometimes.
start?
18.
18. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
19 maybe. I don't know. I just start and there wasn't a
So
day.
it's
It was-
just me.
it was
the
just
4x4s, eh?
it was just like I didn't drink coffee and then one day I was like I like this now.
Comment in the.
I did a desperation for not sleeping. That was it.
No,
Yeah.
I
Nice.
I mean that coffee still affects me, but
Yeah.
Yeah, if you ever had a 4x4 or more, please comment in the comment section. I want to know
More?
who you
More.
are. Yeah,
How
I've
much
heard. I
is-
heard 8x8s. I've heard them.
That's
they
not
do
coffee.
exist.
That's
That's
milk.
not coffee.
It's like headshots.
That's like headshots. 8x8s. All right, moving on.
Okay.
Sorry.
But to
Moving
answer,
on.
answer your question, I just blend up a coffee crisp and
Yeah.
drink it. Basically.
Moving on. We are entering our second segment of this
Phase
Q&A. The next segment is called Player Probes.
Ooh.
Probes?
Probes. We're probing. We're probing
Okay.
each other.
How large are the probes?
You're
Asking
about
for a
to
friend.
find out.
You don't get to see.
In this segment,
it's a
we're going to
mystery.
talk about anything and everything Clue, Dylan, Minx, and...
Oh,
well,
great.
Oh, so
Chris,
I can't sit
I
back and
guess.
relax. Okay.
No, you can't sit back. We got a lot of questions for you. You
Bring
got
it
a lot
on.
of
there
fans.
ain't no rate.
Bring it on.
No.
So, the first question comes in from Rachel Hodgson. Did you folks have backup characters prepped in the event of a TPK? Because those area effect spells could have totally wiped you all out. If you don't know what we're talking about with area effect spells, go ahead and catch up.
You
Listen
didn't
to
catch
episode
up.
23.
You didn't listen to the warning.
Chris is
Yeah.
a psychopath.
Yes. Well,
What was the max one? Like, not 36 or something. No, it was lower.
He dealt 36 damage to two lightning bolts in a row.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
no, that
Chris.
was right. Yeah, it
I
was a
think
lot
it was
of
actually like
dice.
40 something.
It was.
It was 10d6. I'll say that. 10d6 of lightning damage.
That's
Yep.
fucked.
Cool.
That is, and you looked at that and was like, yeah, I'm going to do 10 of those. That's balanced.
This kid's got.
I didn't say it was
-1
balanced. I just thought,
constitution.
yeah, I'm going to do 10 of those.
Oh my God. Well, yeah.
But we I don't know. Technically, we don't have I don't know. We don't have actual backups.
No, and I almost think that's like going back to that first question about like
Yeah.
what happens when your characters die. It's like, I don't know. And that's what makes it scary. So
Yeah.
I don't want them to die.
Yeah.
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 I think we mentioned it in the first Q&A possibly, but I don't know, when I first pitched Minx, I also had a second character that I pitched together.
Right, yes.
But I don't I think that we all kind of had we want to build more characters.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's it. I think, but
Yeah.
also if I had to build a character now, where we're at now, would be very different from that original character.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I liked her. She was, but also I think I built it a cleric or something, and I was like, shit, that could have been useful.
You're talking your first character that you've ever made?
No, the backup,
the
the,
first
other
character
one
that
I
you were
had
gonna
for this
do in
one,
this
yeah.
podcast.
When we
Okay.
did
The
our
alts,
session
the
0,
alts,
Right.
yeah.
trying
right,
that
right.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope, never thought of a secondary character. I just live on copium, just hoping that Chris doesn't
Oh,
finally.
copium.
Yes.
With a C.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yes,
yeah.
copium. No, not opium. If you kill me again, I might. But no, I just don't want to think about it. Don't ever want to think about it, and I don't ever think it's going to happen. And if it does
Clue's
happen,
not going to die either.
I'm going to cry.
Yeah,
So-
they're just not, they don't die.
You almost did when Dylan died.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was hard. I mean,
Yeah.
this is.
We talked about it in the previous
talked-
Q&A as well, but
I still think about you just eating those chocolates slowly.
the
Well-
biggest stress you'd have ever seen.
Yeah.
I'm curious in that, because again, we talked about it a bit before, but in that moment, because there was a time when you died
yeah.
and a time when you talked to Chris
Yes.
about coming back.
Yeah.
In that trauma period.
Yeah.
Were you like, life is flashing before the eyes? I guess, like, any thought of like
Copium. I was just like, he's coming back. He's coming back. He has to. There's no way Chris is going to do this. There's
course.
no
He
way.
wouldn't
That
do
would
this
be
episode
crazy.
12.
He
He
almost
wouldn't.
did. He almost did.
He certainly almost did.
Put a little Ned
So yeah,
Stark writing.
nothing yet, but we'll see.
Starting to think about
I guess the scribble page I made when I
Yeah.
pretended
That
to
was
have a
scribbles.
character, that was just scribbles.
It's almost tough to think of a new character because like all of your stories are so like tightly woven
Yeah.
into this like
For sure.
storyline.
It'd be way
Yeah.
hard to do that now. I
Yeah.
think than
Yeah.
like coming
Yeah.
in fresh.
It's like
That
a
being
it's like
said-
a Cousin Oliver in the Brady Bunch, where it's like you just like
Ah,
throw him
this
in like
now.
near the end, where
Yeah.
like so much has been laid down in terms of like story.
That being
Yeah.
said, 2 weeks after this episode comes out, we are coming out with our little chapter 2.5, a little
yeah.
two-shot where we are all playing different characters.
True.
In
True.
a different setting and in
Yeah.
the same world in order to kind of like flesh out the world of, what should I
Yeah.
say?
Cat's
like
out of the
Feywild.
bag. Yeah,
We
yeah.
recorded it and it's cute.
We did
It is.
record
It's
it.
cute.
It is.
I'm
It's a fun
excited.
time.
You're gonna like it. It's gonna
Yeah.
be great.
Yeah.
I
in the
hope you
Fae.
like
A
it.
day in the Fae.
Yeah.
So, shall we move on?
Yes,
Yes.
let's do it.
Our next question in the player probes segment comes from Sheil. Best and worst character Chris has come up with so far. Let's start with best. Best character?
Oh, I wanted to start with worst, and it's Balvin.
It might be Balvin.
It came to my mind right away, and it was Balvin.
What do you mean?
That's what I mean.
Oh,
Just someone you don't want to interact with at all.
Even I don't like
No.
it.
While you guys think about this,
God,
I
he
do have
sucks.
an answer for best and for worst.
Oh.
The best, in my opinion, is the shovel salesman.
Oh.
And the worst is the shovel salesman, actually, for the
that
same,
is the right
for the
answer.
same-
the
there it
same
is.
scene.
That's good.
That was a piece of just genuine mastery from you, I think.
Gone too soon and
Yeah.
yet couldn't leave fast.
Could not leave fast enough. God, the campaign wouldn't be the same if we hadn't met him. But I sure as hell don't want to see him again.
I almost
Yeah.
made him the BBEG.
I hope he died in the explosion. And I can't say that about many people in
True.
playing it in space.
Yes.
But if there were ever a character that would resemble the most of a cockroach and would survive an apocalypse, it would be the shovel
Shovel
salesman.
guy.
It's probably
It
because
would be
there's
the
so
shovel
many.
guy.
He's got clones.
He's got so many shovels, he could just dig a hole and then stay in it.
you're right.
He could just hide in a hole. How about
man.
you?
I do love Madame Pouch. Like
she's
from
sick.
beginning to end.
Yeah,
she's just cool, and I like her.
Voice hurt.
I also completely forgot about Balvin until Chris did the voice, and I was like, I hate this fucking guy.
Yeah.
That was, I think, the one
We've-
time in the campaign
we've
where
never all
all
agreed.
of us,
No,
we've
we've
all
never
agreed.
all
We're
agreed
like,
on
fuck
something,
this
yeah.
guy, actually.
Dylan has a
Piece of
character who
shit.
like loves everyone. Like within like 5 minutes, is like, I don't know if I like this guy.
Yeah.
He's an elf, and I feel weird about that.
Whenever I was thinking of
Yeah.
the voice, I'm just like, okay, imagine you have a hernia. Imagine you have a hernia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think best for me would be Banks. I still think
Oh.
I just think he
Oh,
brought
yeah.
so much color into that world.
And you know what?
And you could just feel that he's been there for too long serving these
And
people.
he introed the campaign.
Yeah.
I feel a very close
Yeah.
connection to him just because that connects us back to the start of episode 1.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I do love Dax, and I love the way that we got to say goodbye to Dax in the podcast.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just Banks.
Oh, we're gonna see Dax.
a little
again.
special place in my heart.
I don't know. if
We're gonna see
Dax.
Chris he wouldn't do that to us. Chris, we're gonna see Dax again. Sorry, entering back into DM's discretion. Is Dax alive?
Oh, with this one, I can't confirm or deny.
Okay.
Oh.
Great. That's the point of the
Is that
segment.
Have you said yours already?
What was your favorite thing to make?
I would say the worst is the shovel salesman. And Blavin.
Is it Balvin?
I know.
There it is.
I really do like Madame Pouch. I might have to agree with Maggie.
She's so like, yeah, she's great.
She's the best.
Yeah.
And I
She's
think you
very
did a
fleshed
fantastic
out,
job
too.
voicing Orla as well.
You mean Oda?
Both.
Fucking twins, man.
They don't say anything for people that are just tuning in. They
Yeah.
don't speak. Those are non-speaking roles.
All right.
Great
Are
for
we
a-
good?
great for an
Everybody?
audio podcast.
Let's move
Next
on to our
one.
third question in the player probe section.
I keep looking at your screen, but I should.
Yeah, turn away, Mike. Grab the mic and turn away.
Sorry,
Blinders.
I look back at this. Maggie, amazing job on
Thanks.
the
Yeah,
backdrop.
oh my
That's
God.
great.
Wonderful.
It's so cool.
It does feel
Maggie,
like a
the
chapter
artist,
2
all the
color.
beautiful things you've been seeing on
Two
Instagram, on our
gorgeous.
page,
Yeah.
in the Q&A behind everything is from this beautiful mind.
Amazing.
Unreal.
It does feel like a chapter 2 kind of color where
It
it's like
does.
almost fall.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like the
Yeah.
prologue was very
I
summery, very
love it.
warm, and like we're getting slowly colder and darker as we go
Tavern.
on.
Woo,
like the
Tavern.
Harry Potter franchise.
Yeah.
It gets darker as we go
Primo.
on.
Yeah.
Holy.
5
Okay.
Q&As now, it's all gonna be just black.
What is
Next
it, Hartley?
question, because we need to rip through.
We are ripping through it now.
Question from Josh, also asked by Paulo. Is there anything that's happened so far that has surprised you about your character? Maybe something you thought they would never do in the campaign?
Surprised you about your character.
About, or something that happened to them, something that they did? I think I can give my answer to this. The easy one is Clue's memory loss. I think the interesting
Right.
thing there
That's cool.
is when I was creating Clue, I gave a very rudimentary backstory to Chris when it came to his time in the army. And I think one of the things that I left out in his backstory was his rank and the particular reason in which he came to the place that you find him at the start of the campaign. And so Chris intentionally was like, yeah, leave that to me. I didn't think he'd reveal it in such a cliffhanger moment, but
Very cool.
it's exceptional.
It's a great way to procrastinate backstories when it's like, oh, you don't remember, because that gives me time to think about what actually happens.
Yeah.
Not that I don't have anything in mind. I do.
God.
I think for Dylan, it's just the journey that I've been on, like emotionally with him, and just seeing how, especially in the last episode, when you meet a bunch of elves and in 1 minute they all get evaporated in front of you, how
Evaporated
dark
is the right
and
word.
sad a very happy half elf can be. So just sort of like, I was surprised. I mean, obviously given the circumstances, I think it was the proper reaction of Dylan, but just like, I was just surprised how dark it would get and how like dark Dylan's heart would become at the end of that episode, not knowing that when I first made Dylan, and even after the end of chapter 1, even after dying, there was still like a tra-la-la kind of vibe about everything. But like, man, those last 2 episodes, it's like there's like a darkness there now that lingers that I didn't
Finally.
think I didn't think it would get to that point.
I love the one quote that I got from someone listening to the end of chapter 2 was Mike's playing in Candyland, but they're actually in the world of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Exactly. Especially the episode
So-
before the last one.
so
We were
good.
all singing.
Yeah,
and
Hallowback Girl.
Hallowback Girl.
Yeah.
We started the episode with
It was so happy. It was so jovial to
Yes.
just kind of be like,
Yeah.
we're at like a nice little
Yeah.
like campfire cookout
Yeah.
vibe. We're gonna travel with all these elves,
Oh.
and we don't see any danger.
Massacre.
Yeah, it's
God.
crazy. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better introduction
Introduction.
to like the BBG
Yeah.
and like what this story is gonna become, and like for
A lot of
Clues and
drama.
Dylan.
A lot of drama.
What was the phrasing of the question? Sorry. Say it again.
Something that surprised you about your
Your
character.
character.
About my character. Because I was gonna say like it is interesting to see the transition of like from when Minx met Dylan and Clue. There are specific things that I'm like that shocked my character in regards to both of your growth, and that's like that's just fun as well. Like seeing Dylan change and also Clue change in a way that like again is like unexpected growth. It's just really like it's very rewarding to also play in.
Oh yeah.
Chris, I wasn't expecting to meet almost not everyone, but almost everyone I had written in. It was really nice having like I wasn't expecting to get emotional scenes with like my parents
Yeah.
in this time, because I was like honestly like when we were like going to the base, like I think we kind of talked about it. We're just like, what do you want to do while you're here ish, like kind of before you have to go to the gate.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm barely going to see my parents. I might stop in, grab some stuff, leave. Like, I was like, they'll
Built
be working.
in.
It'll be fun.
So
like, not an
good.
issue. And like, I think, yeah,
You
when we
weaved everyone in no time at all.
well, when we
like,
first
through-
met them, I was just like, oh no, I'm fighting with Chris like I'm fighting with my parents. I'm like, you never met my parents. You didn't meet, you've never met anybody in my life. Like I didn't, and it is just really jarring to have that though with like like just from written backstory.
When you went
Like,
home for
it
Christmas,
wasn't-
Chris also went.
Yeah,
to
Chris
your
was
home
there.
for
There were
Christmas.
cameras.
He was in the shadows. He was watching.
But it is
Snitch?
Bro, I told you not to tell her.
I told you that in confidence.
yeah, very like
Yeah.
rewarding
Absolutely.
gameplay. That's
And
it.
now maybe they're all dead.
Yeah, it's very possible.
So-
Everyone I wrote in loved and dies.
Yeah. the mountain's gone.
Next question?
Moving to you, just before we wrap up, is there anything about the campaign that has surprised you as the DM?
As characters, I really like how, and especially in chapter 2, it really comes out, you guys have conflicts with each other. Like, you guys as characters have opposing beliefs and thoughts. Whereas like in chapter 1, it was very much like the intro, and it was like, oh, like kumbaya, we're all like joining together for this like one cause. And as you guys were like kind of traveling on this journey together, like, oh, we're not going to do everything the same way, and we might fight and all that. But I think that just makes you feel more like fleshed out, as opposed to just being like an adventuring party. And it's like, no, you guys are like people.
And it's also like we've been unified by different goals for a while, and up until episode 23, like they've been truly different. And now there's a world where like we clearly all have a common enemy.
Yeah,
common,
100%
shared. We all have one now goal.
It is hilarious that it took 2 chapters, because usually like I think in a lot of D&D stories it's like that is established
like
early.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But no, it's been so separate until that point.
Yeah.
So
and like we're Dylan's probably gonna pick a fight with Clue.
Oh, I can't wait.
Right?
Can't wait.
For not letting him take Rojo back in, and like it's so good. We were all deaf, and
dude,
like the perfect recipe for just conflict within the group.
Love playing
Chris the
conflict
Puppet Master
so much.
but that was also like Clue being like kind of a like dad, like you were being like a big brother
yeah,
figure.
yeah.
You were
and
looking out
that's
for Dylan.
Dude,
Yeah.
and
It
like
was
as
huge.
Michael, great move. As Dylan,
Yeah.
You hate him. Yeah,
Dad,
of course, because you're a teenager.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh my God.
and I'll always fight with
We've
Clue.
gotten better. Our podcast, we've gotten pretty good, guys.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
Pat
It's
ourselves on the
really
back.
good.
Okay,
Aw.
moving on. Question from Clarissa. We have got a little bit of a lead up to this, and I've also got a little note for myself. So first of all, I've kind of split around your question into 2. First is, I'm sorry for sending the vibrator meme in.
We asked for it.
We did ask for it.
We did. We only got a meme so far, not technically a picture of someone's vibrator. But the lines are still open. But that's fine. Wait, we gotta start redacting. That's
Yeah. Love everything you do. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it was also I think the only submission, and
There was
so
only submission, yeah,
No,
I meant
thank
to say,
you.
yeah, so
thank you for
thank you.
sending
absolutely.
and participating in what we
Thank you
asked
so
for.
much. We want it more than anything.
yes.
That is all.
Podcast is this?
Love
asked
everything
for
you
weird
do. My heart is going to be emptier this break. Especially without Clue.
Ooh.
Oh.
But what? Thank you for your stories and everything you guys do. I'm so glad you stopped me at Fan Expo. That's right.
Yes.
We
Yes.
remember meeting you too
Yeah.
at Fan Expo. We're
Yeah.
so glad that we went to that and met so many people.
Yeah.
That, actually kind of like decided to check out the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was a blast.
yeah.
And it's happening again in August. And I think we're going to try to get out there again for
Absolutely.
one of the days.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now-
we had such a blast.
Moving into Clarissa's question.
Yes.
Does the party or Chris do better when he's wearing the curling and tacos shirt? And I would like to, before we answer this question,
Okay.
I would like to expand on Clarissa's question. Rank in terms of deadliness. Chris in his curling and taco shirt, his Eagles shirt, Chris with a coffee, and Chris wearing that little propeller hat that we all know he wears.
That's not
I
canon.
forgot that was canon.
That's not canon.
Rank in terms of deadliness.
Coffee's worse.
Coffee's
I
the
think.
worst.
Coffee
Yeah,
kills.
Hands down, coffee kills.
Coffee kills.
Coffee.
because it's
Write it
also
down.
like fearless,
Lock it in.
It's better than
fearless
coffee.
killing.
It's like coffee
fearless.
sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bad.
When
Chris
Chris
on a
is
sugar
holding
high.
a coffee, it's going to be a bad
It's
time.
a confidence.
Yeah.
This is water, by the way.
I'm trying to
Sure.
think. I'm really trying to like pinpoint when curling and tacos shirts are worn and what the outcomes are of those episodes, but I don't really know. I feel like they're usually better episodes.
I think. Yeah.
I feel like he's in a better mood.
I think
agree.
that they're always kind of like nice.
And,
Yeah.
and going by
Yeah.
I
what
think.
he wore
Yeah, I
on
agree.
episode 23, which was his Eagles jersey, I believe.
I think wasn't that the episode when when we were making our way up to the mountain?
I thought that was lightning strikes.
I'm
I'm
trying
pretty
to remember.
I'm pretty sure he's at his second most deadly, and it's in fact an awful
would say the
combination.
Eagles, yeah.
Eagles shirt with coffee
Pretty bad.
is bad, but
Yeah.
I would rank coffee, Eagles, tacos, propeller hat.
And when he's wearing that little propeller hat,
Oh,
we're
man,
having a
he's so
blast.
nice.
That was
He's
all
so
Wandering in the
good.
Wonder times. It was perfect.
You know what's going to happen now? The next
Playful,
Q&A,
Chris.
I'm going to have to go and get a propeller hat.
Hey, The next Q&A, episode 26, bud. We are filming some now.
Woo! Oh yes, yeah.
We're getting
We're
closer
testing.
and closer to me just having
Yeah.
a uniform.
Yeah, we're testing. We're
Yes.
we're essentially filming all of our we're filming our entire sessions, and then we're going to be using some clips to take and extract
We're trying it.
as social
We're trying
videos.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
We're gonna
trying. Does that mean we're doing full videos? Probably not yet, but depending on the bandwidth and how
Yeah.
things move on, and as we become, I don't know, we could keep doing this, then who knows?
Exactly.
We'll see.
Awesome.
Thank you, Clarissa, for your question. Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Next, 2 questions from Paulo. One question for Chris. If Chris were a PC in the Trouble at the Tavern, the Tat world, what would he make his character in class, personality, and all in caps voice?
That's a great question.
Ooh, I wanna know this.
What would you be?
I've always wanted to play like a wizard. I think wizards are really cool. I've never played one before. Personality, I think it would be similar to someone like Meldar or Madame Pouch, where like they're very gray kind of people, where like they're not necessarily good, they're not necessarily bad. They're just like they're just immersed in this world and have like their hands and everything.
Absolutely.
And in terms of voice, I do like that, like kind of more slick, kind of
Okay. I like
very
this
like
guy.
I do like Madame Pouch as a character, so I think it would be
Yeah.
very similar in terms of like voice and like personality and that kind of stuff.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
great. What an awesome question.
That's a great
That's a great question.
Yeah, thanks, Paulo.
Yeah.
Plo.
Plo.
Sorry, that's our thing.
And this is our thing.
Whoa, crazy. The second question from Paulo was actually a similar one to the one that we've done before. It was, are there any moments that threw you for a loop? I think
feel
that
like
we're going to...
we've sort of touched on that. in the last
Exactly.
one.
So, sorry, Paulo, you're out of luck.
I will say for me, one of the things that did throw me for a loop that I wasn't expecting
Ooh.
was the fact that Rogar survived. I thought after that fight he would be dead.
Yeah.
And you're going to turn it against us, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
When one door closes, another one
opens.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good loop to throw.
That is, yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
you had a big hand in that. Or
Thank
two.
you.
Or
I
two.
had two big
Oh,
hands.
with
Very
the
good.
puns. They don't
Nah.
stop. This is unscripted, guys.
Yeah.
This is
Thank
unscripted.
you.
Can you tell?
If you can tell, yeah, Chris
Can you
does
move the
this
prompter down a
as a
little bit?
person. Our next question. Our next question comes in from Kevin. What, and actually also asked by Josh. So 2 submitters for this question.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite moment / funny moment for this for the campaign so far? I know mine. I want to hear what yours
I love
is.
how they wrote "I know mine,"
but you
Not
don't
the
tell
moment.
us. Kevin, tell us.
We're so glad that you know, Kevin.
This is
and
interactive.
Secret.
We don't need to
man.
know.
Tell us, please reach out and tell us what your favorite moments are, because we
Yeah.
want to hear them.
Yeah, seriously, we love hearing that.
But in terms of ours, maybe we go that way this time. Chris, do you have a favorite moment?
I know mine.
yeah, go for it.
Funny or
gotta
favorite?
Think, I got to think.
Great, you know yours. Moving on. Maggie, you know yours.
And I know mine.
It might be similar to yours, but it was in the first episode of Chapter 2 when you guys first went to the Wandering Wonder, and it was Dylan interrupting the big
Oh
show.
my
God.
When is Hallows Day?
I think I audibly shrieked in the podcast.
Yeah.
Because that was the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That was
That's the
so
hardest
dumb.
I've heard of laugh, which was
I was
great.
crying.
I've listened to that moment over and over again just for that, like,
The shriek.
the pure giddiness that comes from your voice, Hartley.
A question
great.
we all knew they were gonna say. Oh man, that was such a good moment.
Yeah.
Maggie?
Honestly, a lot of the like funny things that do stick out in my mind are like a lot of them were from
Yeah.
chapter 1. Like a lot of them
Yeah.
were at Clue's house.
Yeah.
Like specifically you unpacking your room like a Princess Diaries room of
Oh my
guns and
God.
weapons. And also your mom with Dax and Banks
the
shooting target. Yeah.
Oh my
Like
goodness.
those were just
Yeah.
like it was just
So fucking
such
funny.
like I think it was also both out of like times where we were just so stressed of other things. So coming into those moments of levity just hit extra hard.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah, I
Those-
think for me it's like I find like there's like bigger moments that are like really fun and exciting, but it's really like the small little bits that happen
Very true.
that I find myself just like re-listening to like 15, like 20 times. I think the last one that really sticks out is when Meldar said, "All of you are so young," and then Clue is the first to respond with,
Thank you.
"Thank you." I
Yeah.
died.
Yeah,
I
that was a good moment.
Died at that moment. That the Pancorda bracelets, like
Yeah.
you know, there's like all of these little tiny things that just like break the seriousness of it, and like even if we're having like a fun little moment, there's just like a little thing
Everything
that we say,
of Wink.
and it's just
Everything
like,
I did with Wink.
Wink.
yeah,
was
like
hilarious.
thank
Sorry,
you,
yeah.
little boy.
Oh,
when
my
I tell
God.
him that he could stay, and he's like, oh, thank you, little boy. Like,
I
So
appreciate
funny.
just like little things like that, just like
Yeah.
you get hit with a laugh ever so often, and like even when I'm listening back to it, it's just like
Absolutely.
I just
giggly.
love those little moments.
I think for me, specific to chapter 2 would be Tyler. I loved Tyler. I loved the whole interaction. I was waiting until
Tyler so much.
But then if I could answer, if I could extend to chapter 2.5 and a little maybe not
No.
spoiler. No spoilers.
Okay.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
Just
No
Yeah.
spoilers.
there are some moments in our upcoming 2 shots that you'll be listening to
Okay.
that we're playing different characters, and
Mhm.
I think I was literally crying in some of them.
It's
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah.
It was so
Yeah.
much fun to
The
play.
Fae is crazy.
It's
and I
whimsy.
can't wait.
All right, thank you, Kevin, for the question.
Thank you, Kevin.
Next, we've got...
If you know yours, please. We'd love, we'd
Yeah,
love to
engage.
know.
I kind of know, don't want to know.
Yeah, maybe not. Don't send it to us.
Next question from Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
For everyone, Chris included,
great.
as your favorite
You're an
NPC.
everyone.
How would you slide into someone's DMs as your character? And
Do you know where my mom is? Do you know where my mom is? That's Dylan.
my formal request is, how would Banks slide into somebody's DMs?
He would write a
Ask for Clue's permission.
4-page like letter and like mail it in an envelope. Absolutely.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
a letter of invite.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. That's really funny that you say that, because that's exactly my answer for Clue. Him and Banks.
Yeah.
I would get Banks.
Well, then we
to
saw a
send the
bit of
letter
that.
invite.
You did leave that letter for Madame Pouch.
Yeah, well, that's kind of that leads into Sarah's second question. It's actually for me. Clue, if DMs were around, I think I may have got this order mixed up. Would you slide into Madame Pouch's? And my answer to that is, how do you know I haven't already with that letter?
Told you so.
Absolutely. I don't know.
He
Only I
wants-
know it was in that letter. Me
He
and
wants
Chris.
to tap that cat.
Yeah, tap the cat. Tap the cat. Watch the tail.
Mr. Alligator.
I would just rely heavily on Layla being a wingman. It's like
Yes.
tossing Tinder to a friend
Yes.
and being like, "You're cool.
Yeah.
Can you do that for me? Thank you."
100%.
Because I just trust her.
Yeah.
I will say, I think the official way that Dylan would do it would be going back onto his Ilan persona and slicking back his hair.
That
and
makes
calling
a lot of
himself
sense.
Ilan as long as he can.
Yeah.
And then probably drinking some alcohol and not feeling good after.
I think the real answer though in this world is you do the message cantrip.
Ooh.
Oh, that's how you do it.
Pretend there's voices in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
you're just
girl.
walking down the street. Hey, baby girl.
I mean,
It's like
Oh
fantasy
my
cat
God.
calling.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Mike, no.
Hey, baby girl.
That shivers.
I hate that.
Yeah.
But like,
question,
okay,
next
is
question.
there
Next question,
fantasy
next
cat
question.
calling? There must be fantasy cat calling, right?
Now.
No,
partake in,
I don't like this world anymore.
I partake in quite the catcalling every once in a while, Mr.
There you go.
Alligator.
Yeah,
Mr. Alligator, is that my pet name?
that's you.
Cat?
Oh, Mr. Alex.
Anyway, moving on.
All right, we're getting
next
deep.
question. I've got a trio of questions from David D. Thank you, David, for your questions. Hey guys, loving the pod so far. Here's some questions for the gang. One, for everyone. If you could cast one spell from 5e in real life, what would it be?
Oh.
Can't use wish. Can't be
I was gonna
wish.
say wish.
I thought
You
about
cannot
this.
say wish. He explicitly said not wish.
That makes sense.
I have a very Clue answer, or a very just shikesty.
Fireball.
Nope. Oh.
Fireball.
For Mike.
For what?
For Mike?
How awesome would
for
it be?
Mike in today's, what are you using fireball
Listen,
on?
fireball.
You just killing people?
I did not
indiscriminately?
do my homework, and I'm saying fireball.
Okay.
It's one of the
I'm
only
glad
spells
that'll
Mike
help
knows.
you in the day.
Wow.
to day.
Okay.
Fireball.
Maggie?
Okay, I read this question. I wanted to have thoughts. One, the Magnificent Mansion. It's like a sixth or seventh level, I think.
It's not wish.
Rent is expensive, and I would love to just poof up a house.
That one, I'd
pretty
choose that
good.
one too.
I thought along the same
that
lines.
one.
It's similar with Heroes Feast in some ways, but also
Wait, you can just make food?
Yeah.
Heroes Feast, and
Heroes
it like
Feast.
boosts you for your day. Like you just
Maybe that
feel
one.
beautiful.
You feel
and
great. It gives
amazing.
you extra HP.
Okay, that's pretty sick.
But like leaning away from like the high level cast, I would just be like cantrip, like minor illusion. It would be so nice to just be like an idea, like
Hey,
over
that's
and over
that's
again.
a whole career as a
Yeah.
magician right there.
Exactly. I'm like,
Yeah.
imagine like little hologram. Like that would
Yeah.
be so sick to have.
I
Anyways,
went
that's
the exact opposite direction.
hit me.
I went with the most shiesty, awful. I went with distort value because then I will just go into. I'll just go into sell shit and be like, "Hey, this is $1,000,000," and they'll be like, "You're right, it is.
Honestly,
This napkin is $1,000,000."
Pretty good move.
Yeah,
I like
and then
that your
just
pick is just
Fireball.
to, like, hustle people.
yeah. So that's what I went with. Chris.
I think fly would be cool.
Oh,
would be
easy.
cool.
Cop out.
Oh, Fireball wasn't a cop-out?
There's also what? Sorry. There's also one where you transport. I forget what it's called. Again, it's like a 6th, but you transport through plants, and I think it's a little cooler.
Tree
'cause I'm
strike.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, wait,
yeah.
yeah, tree strike.
That one.
That one.
But I just
Pretty
like that
cool.
as a thing because it's less about like teleportation and it's more like I don't know, homey.
A plant,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, think of
Just
a
go
tree.
to your friend's
Garden.
garden,
Yeah.
or
don't
like
need a
snake
car.
plant atop their TV.
Yeah.
I don't know who puts a snake plant atop their TV, but I said it, so it's a thing now. Second question from David: what's the craziest or funniest story moment you have from a different campaign that you've played in the past?
Oh, okay.
I think, for the sake of time, I think you and I have the same. I know you haven't seen these questions to the same extent that I have. I think we've got the same moment.
I think you think we do, but I don't think we do. And for me,
Go ahead.
it's just my one-on-one session with Chris.
Oh shoot!
That
Okay.
he, and I think I talked about this in the last one, but super quick, one-on-one session. It was mind-blowing. He was sitting on the couch the whole time. I was like crying. I met my mom as a character again.
As we do when we play D&D.
Yeah.
Of course. And then I was like, Chris, what'd you prepare? And he turns over his laptop and it's just an empty screen. And I'm like, we're doing a podcast.
So
Yeah.
take away from that story, I made Mike cry so easily with no
So
effort whatsoever.
easily. Yeah.
Did you say a funny moment?
It was crazy or funny.
funny.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, there's trauma, but then there's funny.
Yeah.
Because, like,
Yeah.
trauma,
It's really pick your poison.
yeah, like, I remember I played a game with my buddy Malik, and I remember he, like, filleted a person that I liked in the game and, like, hung them. No,
Filleted?
and, like, hung them, and then we, like,
Oh.
ended up in a terrible fight.
Interesting.
We, like,
Wow.
almost
Chris?
TPK'd.
No.
I lived, my character lived, and then I had, like,
Oh, we've heard about this.
PTSD, and it was
Yeah.
bad. It was a rough game. I love that game, though. I love those characters. It was in, like, a rough-ish version, I think, of Storm King's Thunder, and that was really cool. My favorite funny person is another person I play with. Their name's Trevor, and Trevor, every character that he makes is just insane and crazy. And one time when we were playing a game, he made a bard character in one of my campaigns.
Ooh.
Showed up, I forget what the musician is that he played at, like, was having this persona of, but it was like this raunchy, like, jazz club singer, and he
Ooh.
came with music every time, and I just would be like crying
So cool.
at every session.
Wow.
Yeah, funny.
And I just I appreciate lovely people I've played with
Chris?
for both.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris,
That's it.
you want to go after that? Because I don't think mine.
Jazz singer.
Yeah, I just think there's so many things I could say right now, but I don't know. I think all of the crazy moments so far in this campaign have been like the top for me. Like it's just like
This
Aw.
campaign.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I do have one answer from a campaign that Chris actually did DM that Mike was in. There was
Yes.
a moment where we were traveling as a group of like 4 or 5 with, coincidentally, cameo from Easel, who we've mentioned in our
Yes.
last calls. That started over in that campaign. And there was a time where we approached a village and we came out and so bungled up our introduction to the villagers that we just decided to all turn around mid-conversation, go back into the carriage, and then reemerge
They did a redo.
we were leaving the carriage for the first time and meeting the villagers for the first time.
So funny.
We just came out, we're like, everybody, you're just going to pretend
Like
that
we're
that
doing it
didn't
again.
happen.
Yeah.
And all the villagers were like,
No, that did happen.
No, yeah.
And we're like, no.
I thought it was we met one person and then we really fucked up the interaction.
Oh,
so we hopped into the carriage and went further.
No,
and
it was
just
the
met
same
another-
guy.
It was the same guy.
Hilarious. Yeah.
Good stuff.
That is stuck out to me.
Good stuff.
And then last question from David. What's a character idea that you've had on the back burner for a while but haven't had a chance to play yet? And
Ooh.
anything that comes to mind? I don't have anything that comes to mind.
Nothing currently, aside from the character that like we did play in
Exactly.
the last one. I think we're not going to speak on that until you guys in 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks.
Two more weeks.
Till you hear those voices and those characters.
Yeah. A lot of like my ideas I have characters I just turn into NPCs.
Exactly.
Fair.
Okay.
There's a lot of I will say like a lot of new subclasses, and every time I read a new subclass, I want to try to play it, and I hate
Yeah.
that.
And we're going to get there actually with
yeah.
it, David. You know what? Might as well do that right now.
Sure.
David also sent in his druid subclass that he himself has been working on that I had a
sick.
chance to look at. It's the coolest thing ever. No question here from David. It's just an amazing subclass that not just looks cool, but looks balanced. Maybe we'll put it on
That's no fun.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I read it. I have questions and thoughts, David. But all good. Everything's nice. But I am curious. It's basically a druid subclass. It's called Circle of Scales. if I'm
Circle
not
of
mistaken.
Scales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in a couple things. But one, we should send this out. We will link it out somewhere in the information
Of
for
course,
this Q&A.
if you'd like to do that, David.
If that's okay with you, we'll get permission, consent.
Yeah,
Consent.
It's hella awesome. I've got it up literally right here. We won't spend more time
Yeah.
on it, but just know that we
I have two
love you and we
questions.
appreciate you.
Two
Because
two
my gosh.
questions.
Two
Oh,
questions.
two questions.
Just really quick.
Sorry.
One, how would this impact playing as a Dragonborn? Because I don't know. Because there's also like sorcerer subclasses that also have to do with draconic backgrounds. So would they get like different bonuses? What would that look like? And also like would the breath weapons and stuff be different? But it's really cool. It's basically a druid subclass that you can play to get dragon bonuses. And also if there were different dragon upgrades to do as the druid classes, you get bigger. That's all. It's really cool, and I did like it. Thank you for sending it.
Yeah,
And
thanks,
other
David.
people, please send stuff like this. It is really
Yeah,
cool to look
yeah.
at.
We want to see your stuff.
Love
Cool.
to talk about stuff like that more.
So
We'll link it in the description,
Yeah.
pending David's approval.
Yes.
Next question comes in from Cooper. This actually ties into what we were just talking about. So it has to do with previous campaigns. I thought of something, not really a question related to this campaign, but I want to hear about all of your first characters from each of your very first campaigns. Name, race, class, anything interesting about them, or something they did in the campaign. What level did they get to, and did they die? So maybe a quick
Interesting.
round table.
Yeah,
I
let's
think
do a
Maggie-
quick little rapid fire.
rapid fire.
I played in a campaign that was centered in Hamlet, and I played a character named Jin, and technically I played as her sister first, and her sister died in like the second game, and so then like the second time we played,
wow.
I had no idea what I was doing. I was so
Of course.
but then I played as that character's sister. I think we made it to like level 6 or 7, and the campaign was really, really fun. It was the first time I ever played, and I played as a changeling rogue.
Cool.
Loved her.
Changeling Road, that's
Yeah.
cool.
The very first character was Snowball in your campaign.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yes. I always forget.
In a Halloween, was it a Halloween one-off?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
it was the one
Yeah.
shot of like the haunt.
Yeah, a tabaxi. I was a white tabaxi named Snowball, and I think I put my hand in a specter and it killed me. Something like that.
right.
Very nice.
Something like that. But we were all drunk at that point, so
It's a good game.
it was a good game. There was a bunch of us. It was
Yeah.
But it was great. That was the first one. Yeah.
It was exactly a bunch of drunk people in a haunted house.
Yeah. Yeah.
I DM'd first, but then so
Crazy.
my first actual character was he DM'd. Actually, you kind of DM'd first. Yeah. Going based on what you're about to say. But my first actual character was Hoyd Blademaster.
Yes.
In your campaign,
Yep.
he was a halfling sorcerer warlock multi-class. He was min-maxed. He was damn awesome. He would do
was the
100
bane
damage a
of my
turn.
existence.
Yeah.
I
Harley would do
fucked
40 damage,
Chris's
and then
shit up
all of us would do
first.
10.
Yeah. He would cast.
Hey, first campaigns. That's how it happens,
Dude,
right?
he would go in full. Somehow he'd have the highest constitution of anyone. I'd just jump into wherever the most danger was, cast darkness around myself. I had non-magical dark vision or
Yeah.
magical dark
Yeah.
vision, and I would just Eldritch Blast the shit out of everyone. I do like 70 damage a turn.
You're the worst.
It was so much. It was game breaking. It was the best. Anyway, Chris.
I blame a lot of the hard fights that you guys are encountering
Because of this guy.
on Hoyt.
Yeah.
I need to make this harder.
I really like to min-max and do as much as I possibly can.
Yes.
My first character was in a campaign that you DM'd, Hartley. His name is Caquius Sequoias. He was a Goliath fighter. And he had a knack for comedy, so he carried around this big club called the Comedy Club. And he did. And he didn't die, but I think he only got to maybe level 6 or so, 6 or 7. Yeah, and that's the highest I've ever played as a player.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Sick.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for the question, Cooper.
Thank you, Cooper, for the question. Next question. We're still in our player probe segment.
All right. We
Comes
got
in-
to pick it
Sorry,
up.
Hartley.
We do. Same. This one comes from Rory McGockney, I think. Which Baldur's Gate 3 character would each party romance? I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, so I'm not going to say.
Womp womp
Abstain.
womp 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 womp.
You as well? You're playing.
Lae'zel, and I did romance her, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, my playthrough, I definitely romanced Shadowheart. Minx probably would too, but also Karlax, or no, Jaheira. Sorry, Minx would go for Jaheira.
And I'll romance any because I just want to play it.
Yes, you do.
But that was like, I was like enjoying the game, and then that happened, and I was like, sick. I'm gonna play this game forever now. It was my main mission to romance Lae'zel, and it happened very early on too. And I was like, hell yeah, we're starting off strong. Beautiful.
Thank you, Rory, for your question.
Yeah.
Next
Yes, thank you.
question from Mika. Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Oh, another
of
one.
these.
Another
Let's
one.
go.
Of
I got
these.
another 3 characters for you.
Beautiful.
Ready?
Yes.
Character 1, Madame Pouch.
Oh.
Character 2, Cadmus. Character 3, the hot elf bartender Layla.
No,
Fuck, Marry, Kill.
no.
You got it. You got to kill one. I know my answer.
Well, I think Dylan would be. What are they again? What's the second one? Madame Pouch.
Cadmus and Layla.
So it would be Mary Cadmus, fuck Layla.
You are
and
so weird
Kill
with these.
Madame Pouch. That
You
would
are
be Dylan's.
so weird
That
with
would be
these.
that would be Dylan's. That would be Dylan's
I
choice.
guess.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, go. Yeah, do it.
Marry Madame Web.
Madame Web.
Madame Web.
Someone
coming
watched-
out in theaters.
Someone watched that
Fuck,
trailer
I
recently.
hate
That's our
Marvel.
new
I
Madame
hate
Web. Is that a new
Marvel so much? I can't believe I
That's
said
a
that.
new Marvel
I know,
movie?
Hartley.
New Marvel.
It's in your
Fucking
head.
The billboards are worth.
It's in your
Working.
head, Harley. It got you.
Harley loves Marvel.
I hate Marvel
goes
so
home
much.
and watches all
Put me
the
on
Hartley's
record for
read
that. I
so
hate
much.
Marvel.
Madame Web.
Well, there goes our sponsorship with Marvel.
Yeah.
You're really gunning for that.
Marry Madame Pouch. Kill Cadmus. Fuck the hot elf bartender. Hot
Okay.
elf bartender's
Yeah.
her
Good answer.
name.
It's
that
in the
Mika
name.
wrote.
It's in the name.
That's not her name. She has a name.
Layla.
I
Layla.
love her.
Hot elf bartender, comma Layla.
We
That's
didn't
how
write
the
this
question
question.
came.
No. I'd marry Layla.
Yes.
Probably fuck Cadmus.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would kill Madame Pouch because I feel like she would be an honorable person to kill. Also, her
Agreed.
house is really sick. And
I'd
so we
like
could
to
live.
That's
see
why
them
you marry
try.
her. You marry into money too.
But I
Just
mean,
saying.
you could also kill for money.
I guess, but it feels worse.
Murder.
I had a question for Chris. Is this like fuck marrying and killing a portion of yourself when you answer these questions?
Next question, please.
Moving on. Thank you, Mika, for the question. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Mika.
We've got 2 questions remaining in this segment, both from Douglas.
Doug.
Which of the characters is most likely to go rogue? As in, leave the party behind for their own reasons and solve their own issues. I think maybe consensus.
Consensus?
So-
Me. Oh, we're pointing at me.
It's-
Here's the thing.
It's funny
You've
because
done it!
I thought Dylan at first too. Gut went to Dylan, but then I went to you.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Because Clue, I don't know where you're
Listen.
so cagey.
I think we're pretty solid. The only thing.
Don't
here's the
loop
thing.
yourself
Here's
in
the
with
thing.
me.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
You're not safe.
Dylan's got the shackles, and that could be big no-nos in the future.
Of
And
course.
that's really the only thing that I could see pulling Dylan away from the two of you, because I don't
This
You
think
is-
almost jumped off
this
a
is-
mountain.
I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't. You guys thought I was
I did
jumping
think
off a
that.
This
mountain.
is Dylan, the same
I was
person
looking
that
off into the
stole
distance
a Wandering Wonder
angrily.
robe and did his own thing there.
Yeah, but I came back. I was doing it for the team.
I guess we've all had our moments where we've done that.
Yeah.
You went down into
But
the pool, but you were very team oriented.
Yeah, me and everyone's throwing fingers around, but I think we're a team.
No.
Okay.
You are different.
Okay.
You'll go without telling anyone,
I was
and that's
looking
scary.
at the the battle angrily.
I remember in our former campaign, not even this campaign, when you were playing Snowball in his campaign, you went off, didn't tell anyone, middle of the night, and fucking died.
Yes, I was a rogue. I didn't die. I almost got turned into a vampire. Long story. We don't have to go to old campaigns anymore. But I think the shackles are a problem, and then I would, say me.
Okay.
If the shackles activate.
The
I
answer
think
is Michael.
Dylan's also very, I think you would sacrifice yourself for a
Yes.
greater cause. And I think that that's also kind of a little bit of a grenade to be holding
Like
in
the way
some
that I
ways.
leave you is by dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're like,
Sure.
you would be like, I will sacrifice myself to save the or to
Not
save
even
my
knowing what
mom,
that
save
means.
someone.
Yeah.
Like you will just go with
Yeah.
it like heart forward,
Very Ron
probably,
Weasley.
but potentially lead to us being
Very
like, where
Ron
the
Weasley.
fuck did he go?
Yeah, true.
That's
true,
it.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I, before you,
yes.
can I say? Can I?
No,
can I say my
actually, no,
opinion?
not a
Yeah.
question
Have
for you.
opinions.
Yeah, of course.
I'm gonna say Minx for reasons that we might get into
Shut
in
up,
chapter 3.
Chris.
Oh, shit! He dropped something. All right.
You're
Okay.
the worst.
Okay.
Oh my god, this is exciting.
Things that surprise me about my character. Chris wrote a whole backstory that I'm not privy to.
Yeah.
This is exciting. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks,
what a
Doug,
two
for-
bombshells
Fear.
today. Woo.
Yeah. Thanks, Doug, for question one.
Thank you.
Question two.
Thank you.
What is your character's perfect Sunday? I can just tell you right now.
Vanilla strawberry with some strawberries on top.
ice cream.
A lot of
Yeah.
I like.
Okay, fuck you.
Wait.
Sunday. He was talking Sunday as in the day,
Okay,
but that's
I was
still
gonna
your
say
answer.
you pulled like a miscongeniality.
What'd you call me?
Never mind.
If it's not,
No, I
if it
know.
doesn't have Tom Hanks in it, he doesn't know.
I haven't seen it.
They say, what's your what's your favorite date? Like, what would encapsulate your favorite date? And they're like, it's the May 21st.
Oh, I see.
That's it.
I see. I
I'm
pulled
done.
something. Okay. No,
Anyway,
I get it.
yeah.
I get it.
I'll
Anyone
answer
else?
now.
Sundays?
I think Clue's favorite Sunday or favorite day, whatever, is probably what he's doing right now. I actually thought about this a lot because he doesn't have very many good memories, and in fact, not very many memories of his time in the army. And then he was depressed and sad that he was taken out of it and was just bored. And now he's like got a purpose and is like doing things and showing strength, which is a big thing for him, especially with the Church Accord. So I think right now that just whatever day he's on, if he's
Love that.
fighting,
Best time of your life is with us. Oh my god!
I guess if you want to put it that way.
Stop it. Probably just bar times with actual like Dax, Layla,
Yeah.
like the actual old gang.
That makes sense.
Probably just like in a more peaceful time. That's it.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
If I was to answer it seriously, it would be like Dylan's having the time of his life, even though there's a lot of like. I
You
mean,
as well,
maybe
yeah.
before all the death, but
That's
like
the thing. I'm stressed now.
everything, like getting into Clangon's base with you guys, Dylan probably really loved that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah.
everyone, concludes the segment of player probes.
Boom.
That wasn't so bad.
That wasn't so bad.
was so bad.
You sat back. You enjoyed yourself. You're not as much of a player. You're more of a god of the world.
Yeah.
But we are going to go into the next segment, which is called NPC NITPICKS.
Okay.
So here where we have a few questions, not as many as the last segment, about NPCs and how they interact with us in Chris's wide, wacky world of Hallow. The first question comes in from Anthony again. I'm about to start episode 22, so I might be a bit behind, but what happened to Grub during the fight with Rogar? Question for myself and potentially Chris. My answer is I think he was just surfing on some cushions.
And that's the right answer.
Fantastic. He is a raccoon after all. There's no magical properties about him yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Surfing on some cushions.
No abilities at all. So I
that.
think he's just surfing on some cushions,
Yeah.
waiting for everything to drain.
Not drowning.
and not
Not
drowning.
drowning. Yes. Yes.
He's like a cat. He's not a fan of water, so he's just staying dry. Thank you, Anthony, for the question.
Thank you, Anthony.
Next question. Return again to Clarissa. Thanks for the question. It is, do you think Tyler's still alive? He's hilarious.
Dead.
That's a question for everyone.
I hope
let's
he
go around
dies.
Okay,
I hope
dead.
he dies. I'm sorry, Clarissa. I just can't. It's not that funny. I can't.
Dead.
I think everyone in the city is in a mid ground for me. I don't know. I'm gonna
Mid.
believe that I just don't know. I'm gonna hope everyone's alive.
For
Yeah,
me,
fair.
I'm quitting the podcast if he's dead, so he's alive.
Okay.
Okay. That's fair.
Chris?
Chris?
No comment.
Chris shrugged.
DM's discretion.
There it is.
Great. Thank you. Okay, next question comes in from Kathy. Kathy, we're going to get to a myriad of Kathy questions soon, but
yes.
one
Yes.
in. Yeah, Chris, get ready.
Yeah.
One in
I
the
took a peek at these
segment.
before. You're in for a ride.
Yeah, NPC nitpicks. 1. Clangeddon's base has a pamphleting and flyer culture, obviously. We know that from Chapter 2. Do they have newspapers or town criers, Chris? They've got shovel salesmen. Do they have town criers?
Culture.
Yes, they do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how many of
okay.
them have you killed?
No, that's to be determined. Many.
Okay. Oh, so people are dead.
Next question.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you, Kathy, for question 1. We'll get right around to your other questions in our next segment. Which I am now thinking we should have just called Kathy's questions. It's titled.
Very good.
I might actually retitle it when we get there. Next
Nice.
question comes in from Anthony again. Actually, I should have put this earlier. Chris, who's your favorite character to play, and why is it Tyler?
Tyler is my favorite character to
Why
play.
does everyone love Tyler? Can
Tyler's
we
the best,
stop
I'm
loving
saying.
Tyler?
Well, Tyler actually does do a lot for this podcast because whenever I'm coming up with a pun at the start of each episode, he's the one who sends me the DMs with the pun.
yeah.
So that's why he's my favorite.
Tyler is the
I'm glad
bottom
it's
of a
not
barrel.
Balvin, at least.
Yeah.
So,
Honestly, yeah. We'll
So-
take it.
very good.
Who's your favorite character to play?
Who's my favorite character to play besides Tyler? Madame Pouch.
Yeah.
Madame Pouch. I think we
Madame
figured
Pouch.
that.
Yeah.
All right. I hope that answers your question, Anthony. Next question comes in from Douglas. Chris, what's your favorite voice to play? I think this maybe leads into the same thing.
Yeah, real answer is Madame Pouch. Fun answer is Oda or Orla or Bernard.
Haha, they don't talk. Ha 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 ha. They don't talk. Moving into that is actually the end of the NPC Nitpick segment. Woo! Absolutely, we're moving into
Thank you for all your
our next
questions.
segment, which I am now calling Kathy's Question.
Woo!
Kathy. Kathy sent in a bunch of questions all about the logistics of Hallow, which is why this segment was formerly.
I love this. I
it was
love this.
formerly titled Hallow Heaters. These are all questions for Chris, and Chris, you got to answer.
Oh my
them
God,
all.
they're all from Kathy in that
They're
section.
all from Kathy. That's why we're calling them Kathy's questions.
Oh no.
1. Does Hollow have rock music?
Yes, and it originated at Clangeddon's base because of the mountain.
Pretty cool. Okay. Question 2. Per episode 1, it is suggested that Hallow does not have ballpoint pens, which incidentally were invented around the same time as American jazz. So my question, the implication there, the implication that Kathy's putting your way there is the fact that because jazz exists, the ballpoint pen is going to be invented imminently. So, Chris, how are you going to weave that into the campaign, and how are you going to make it kill us?
Oh, improv.
Give us pens, give us jazz.
I recently watched Percy Jackson, so which
Okay.
turns a pen into a sword. So yeah, it's coming.
Okay.
Okay.
Question
Sweet.
2 from Kathy. Done. Question 3 from
Is the answer
K3.
magic, Chris?
If I can't think of a answer in time, yes, it's magic.
Magic.
Yeah.
So we
Question-
do have ballpoint pens now.
We get pens?
Soon.
Next question.
Okay. Question 3. Does Hallow have printing presses and or movable type?
Oh, no. I would say
Hell of a question.
I would say Hallow is more a world that where technology would be in regular life, it would instead be replaced by some kind of magic.
Okay.
Right. So like
Wow,
with the
serious answer.
spell shooters, right? Like instead of like gunpowder and like shooting bullets, it shoots spells. Right. So in terms of like printing presses, in order to get like a pamphlet out, they would like draw one kind of notice and then like use a spell to duplicate it. And
Yeah.
then-
Oh,
So
okay.
nothing
Yeah.
for the normies.
No, nothing for the normies.
Nothing
Sorry.
for the
Oh.
normies.
Rough.
So the Meridian mines are pretty busy, eh?
Yeah.
It seems like there's a whole infrastructure based on element orbs.
Well, there used to be.
Like,
That's Maggie's whole backstory.
well, I understand.
Have
but
you
I'm
been
just
listening?
No,
at
I
all?
get it. But like now I'm just like, it's like, you know, if the newspaper companies need element orbs to make newspapers for everyone in
an
the town,
economy.
it's
now
a whole thing.
Now you see why it's magic is it's hierarchy, right? It's from the top down.
And if you
Yeah.
can
Absolutely.
orb magic, then
Yeah.
you're the
It's dirty
The
magic.
orb
It's
master.
dirty
The orb
magic.
master.
Dirty, gross.
Interesting.
Bad.
Mhm.
Very interesting.
Mm.
I'm
Question.
just catching up.
Question 4 from Kathy. Presumably, the literacy rate is high since Tillville has a library, however
That is
disused.
true.
How is information disseminated widely in Hallow?
Oh.
Yeah, answer that,
We got
motherfucker.
books.
Well, I would say, actually, it's a fun fact because I thought of this the other day. Libraries are spread out around Hallow because of one certain queen of Hallow in the past.
Okay.
Doesn't necessarily mean they're used a lot. Maybe that's why Merla the librarian is so cranky, because maybe not a lot of people come in. But libraries exist because of a certain queen in Hallow.
Wow.
He had an answer.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
We won't know who it is.
Oh
we
my
don't,
God.
Oh, there you have it.
But I would say not a lot of people in Tillville go to the library. That's all I'll say.
Library.
That's true.
True.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Thank you. On to the next Kathy question. Your last episode, and that would be episode 23, I believe, had diegetic jazz, which raised questions for me about Hallow's culture and technology. More questions. How does jazz in Hallow come to be?
I would say,
Clang it in space. Oh, yeah, that's it.
Was that episode 23?
That was...
I mean, we talked about jazz in every single last call.
Yeah. No, but I think that's the mention of the one where it was playing in that bar, right?
In the Amber Lantern.
You're right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I want to say that was maybe like 19 or so.
I think it was in 19. Yeah.
I'll say with jazz, kind of like I mentioned with rock, originated at Clanging in Space. I'd say jazz was more of the Feywild, very flowy, very like improvisational.
Okay.
And it's funny enough because like the jazz we heard at the Amber Lantern, it's Layla is an elf who owns the Amber Lantern, so it makes sense.
Very true.
Okay, there it is.
Wow, great question.
There it is.
The
All
next
right.
and final question in our segment, Kathy's Questions. Can you speak... Kathy, come on.
Yeah, do
Katie's
it.
sweating.
Do it.
Katie,
do it.
come on.
Do it. Do it.
Can you speak to the regional differences in cuisines and music we may find as the gang travels further away from Tillville?
Oh,
So we've got Clanging in Space now that we've traveled to.
yeah.
Now we're in the Fae, so that's
Farm
and
City
free
Fae.
for all.
From
Yeah.
what you guys have experienced so far in our 2-shot in the Fae, like the regional differences are wild.
Yes.
And I'll say, yeah, of course, we're definitely going to expand past orange juice and and soup that we first got in Tillville. Yeah. So it's going to be a little more magical, a little more wild, and definitely very, very mysterious.
Nice.
Yeah.
So excited for the next chapter.
Thank you, Kathy, for your
Thank you,
questions.
Katie, for the whole segment. Really appreciate it.
That rocked me improvisational. Like, oh my god.
You did pretty good. You did pretty
I felt
good.
like I was DMing.
It was decent. It was decent.
I got answers. I got answers.
Yeah.
Now, guys, wrapping up and moving into our final segment, rapid fire responses.
Love it.
We've collected some quick and easy questions that we can maybe go around the table and just
Sick.
answer as quick as possible.
Beautiful.
Ready.
And it helps because we are running out of time. First question from Paulo: has Grub ever been petted by the PCs?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not by Clue.
Not
by
by
Clue.
Clue. I think in my headcanon, Grub sleeps on him as sorry. He as Clue sleeps very still on his back. Grub sleeps on his chest, and
Love
that's
it.
the closest thing.
That's
I think
cute.
Clue's considered it recently. We're getting closer.
That's crazy to me that Clue hasn't pet Grub.
He kicked him
He's
when
not-
we met them.
Okay,
He's not
all
my
right.
pet.
It's not that crazy that Clue hasn't pet Grub.
3 questions from Sarah coming in. Thank you, Paulo, for the question.
Thank you, Paul, for the question.
Question 1: how does your character measure success? Strength.
Come back to me.
Coming back.
Approval of others. Oh,
Oh,
sad.
it came out of her mouth. It's true.
It's true, though.
Yeah.
Which one? Which character?
Just how do you define success as a person, Chris?
Feeling rewarded.
Fantastic.
People being happy and not dead. A lot of failure in the last episode. A
Lot
lot of failure for
of
Dunn in
failure.
the last episode.
Oh, no.
That's very true. I think this is something that we've kind of vaguely already addressed. Favorite NPC just from chapter 2.
Oh, specifically from chapter 2. I said Banks the first time, so come back to me.
Wink.
Pouch.
I love Pouch, but I do like Wink.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. Wink is awesome.
It's not the shovel guy?
Yeah, it's the shovel guy.
Or
It's the shovel
Rojor?
guy. No, it's the shovel guy. It's definitely the shovel guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know what?
I think so.
I'm changing my answer. Ferrodin.
Oh,
Ferrodin, we barely met him,
yeah,
but I don't think
yeah.
I've ever been so like...
Oh, he
I
did
don't know.
make me hate
I
him
was
so
thrown.
bad,
I was
yeah.
thrown when we saw him. I didn't even see him when Maggie saw him. When Minx saw him.
You know what? You know who I really liked? It was your friend that was boarding up Merrick's place.
Oh,
Battle.
Beryl. Yeah.
I
Beryl.
loved Beryl.
Yeah.
Beryl was great.
She was cool.
Oh, I'm
I
so
like
glad
her.
we just got like a
And
little
your
hint of
parents,
her.
there's a lot of good
Yeah.
characters.
Yeah, I did like Beryl a lot, so I
Oh,
changed my
my
answer
friend.
to Beryl. Yeah, they're all dead.
Great question. Last and final question from Sarah. When someone sneezes in front of your character, do they or do they not say bless you?
1,000%. They said Dylan says bless you twice.
Which is good. It makes up for Clue not saying bless
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You
It's
say bless you.
polite.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
I'll just throw them a bless.
Oh, fuck you.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, my God. There he is. Thank you, Sarah, for your questions.
Great question.
Fantastic questions for all of them in all of these segments.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Sarah.
Next question comes in from Austin. How many fisherman's friends does
Texas?
Clue eat during a session to maintain that gruff voice?
Ooh, yeah.
Count a number beyond measure.
Have you found that your voice does get raspy after? Like, do you find that you lose your voice a little bit after a session?
The exact opposite. I find that I want to be in Clue's voice all the time.
Interesting.
I almost feel like this is the natural. Like I could
Yeah.
talk like this very naturally all the time.
yeah.
Like no problem. This is voice.
'Cause
number
You're
two.
going to hit 40 and it's just going to
turn
that.
into that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I was testing a character for the
50
chapters. Yeah, there was a different character that I was testing that had kind of a gruffer voice, and like just like even like a couple of minutes of just like trying it out in the car, like I was already
It's
like, oh
hard.
jeez,
Oh, yeah.
I can't. Wow. So good on you.
Thank you.
Throat of Steel,
That's what they call me.
That's you.
That's what they
the
call
new
me,
Marvel
guys.
movie.
On certain
Partnership
websites.
plan.
On certain websites.
Next, thank you, Austin, for the question. Next question comes in from Clarissa. Clarissa, this is your third, I think, and final
so, yeah.
question.
Yep.
What color would you associate with your characters? And she says DM's choice for NPC, but I'm going to enforce Chris, rapid fire, give us colors that you would associate with 1, Rogar, 2, Faradin, 3, Tyler.
Rogar would be a deep, lush purple. Faradin
okay.
would be black, and Tyler would be what's like the blandest color, like a shade of like brown.
Nice,
Fast.
nice.
Yeah.
like a light brown.
Yeah, just like a distasteful brown.
Yeah, yeah, with a bit of gray in there.
Yeah.
Emeralds, kind of. But it's
Emerald,
just,
yeah.
she's kind of green, but like also kind of got, I don't know, again, magic purple. It's hard. Mink, green.
Yeah.
Green. I don't know. It's scary.
Yeah.
For me, like a lighter foresty green,
Mhm.
like something that's very similar to like the trees.
Interesting.
leaves. Yeah,
Okay.
for Dylan, I think. Yeah,
Farm boy.
yeah, farm boy.
I think Clue, I'm going to throw you for a loop. I think it's like an iridescent, bright, almost white blue.
Ooh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
We're all over the color wheel.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's what I'm going to go with.
yeah, cool. I didn't expect that, so that's kind of cool. It doesn't match your eyes now. You have blue eyes now, right?
I've got brown eyes now.
You got
They
brown
used
eyes.
to be
Oh,
blue.
They used to be blue. We
Yeah.
took that away from him forever.
Yep. So those are the colors. Clarissa, the next question and the final question in the rapid fire responses segment is from Anthony. Maggie, how's Gossip Girl?
I never watched Gossip Girl.
I think he's
I
asking.
watched
I think he's asking
Gilmore
about
Girls, Anthony.
He's asking about Gilmore Girls. Great job, Anthony.
No.
Fucked up.
You have to answer the question. How
Yeah,
it's written.
How is
Yeah,
Gossip
Maggie, how's
Girls? Because you already told us how Gilmore Girls
How's
was.
Gossip
So
Girl?
It's gossipy.
Wow.
yeah,
There's a character named Blair.
sick.
The max
Mark
I know.
it.
I hope she has a
Check it.
witch project.
Yeah.
But all right, moving on.
Moving on, and that wraps up our segment of rapid fire responses. Thank you, everyone,
Amazing.
for those. Now, guys, we've reached almost
Finals.
the end of this Q&A, and also the questions that you have sent in. We really appreciate it. Finally,
Just
getting
nice and fast.
into our Trouble at the Tavern updates and shout outs to all of you troublemakers. We've
Yes,
coined it.
troublemakers.
Thank you.
We've got a couple questions coming in about merch, which I'm going to hand over to Maggie, who's our
Because I have answers.
Maggie answers. I just didn't want to answer this.
Yeah, I'd love to make some. If there is interest,
Yeah.
say it, and we will make stuff. We made shirts for Fan Expo really
Yeah.
last minute, and because we wanted to all look like a team,
Yep.
and it was really cute. But
I
no,
love those shirts.
I'd love
Yeah.
to do stuff for people. I just don't know what you want, and if you want things, tell me, and I'd love to make you anything, please.
Yeah, Anthony suggested, he said, merch soon, jerkins, grub plushies, Rogar hands is what he said.
So much overhead to make.
I will give you no
branded
Rogar
jerkins.
hands.
Branded jerkins, leather jerkins.
But
my
seriously,
God.
yeah, comment merch in the comments if you want us to make merch. And if
Yeah.
you want a certain type of merch, let us know what it is.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Here to do.
Yeah.
I would love to, though.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Yes.
If we could have stuff.
You know what? I've just got 2 other questions related to kind of D&D as a whole and us as people and us as a group. One is, I guess it's just a Q&A question, really, but it comes in from Josh. What, in our opinion, is the biggest challenge you face doing this podcast? I think we split this out because I think it encompasses everything from scheduling, yikes,
Mm-hmm.
to
Like a regular D&D
recording
game.
and editing and SFX and all the things that we do to try and make it a thing.
I would say the biggest challenge is just like not playing enough, right?
Yeah.
Like we just have so much fun when we do it, where it's like we try and do it as much as possible. but
Biggest
we all have
challenge
different
is
lives.
Mike's vacations. Am
Yeah.
I right?
Okay. My vacations. No, I think the biggest challenge is just, it's not our full-time jobs. It's,
Yeah.
we're putting in the work, we're putting in the sweat and everything to make this come to life because we're just so passionate about it and we want to tell
We
the story.
fucking love it.
And we love it, and we lose sleep over it. We all do, and
Sorry.
it's, no, but it's like we're doing it, and
Yeah.
until we're not doing this full time, it's always going to be a little bit tough to find those times to make things happen, and it's never a good time, but but it has to be, right?
Has to be. We wanna make it happen.
Be able to create this and put it out, and the fact that you guys are listening,
Amazing.
commenting and sending us these questions,
That's the thing keeping us
that
going.
is what keeps us driving,
And that's why
forward.
it's especially important if you know anybody who's interested in D&D, who's interested in kind of
Yes.
this long form media, that they like laughing, that they hopefully like us. Word of mouth is all we got
Please.
right now. So let's
Get
go
into
ahead.
those DMs.
Get into those
Get into
DMs.
those DMs.
5 stars.
Send trouble at the
DM
tavern.
like you would, like Dylan would DM.
But I would say I think the hardest part of it is that like we all are so passionate
Yeah.
about this thing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it does make it hard to like we want to make it so good.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of
And I think
course.
that's
Yeah.
honestly been sometimes like both our biggest roadblock, our biggest
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah,
And
of
it's
course. Of course.
it's really positive to see, but it is
Yeah.
definitely something that we take home with us
It
every
may not
single
be
time.
It may not be a job, but we treat it like one.
Yeah.
for sure. For
A
sure.
couple other questions before we get into just some final shout outs.
Mm-hmm.
One from Janae, which maybe shouldn't be in this section, but it's here now. If Trouble at the Tavern were ever adapted into a film or TV show, who would you have play your characters?
Tom Hanks.
Yeah. So fucking fast.
Fucking
Tom Hanks.
Old Tom Hanks
No,
playing a 17-year-old?
imagine Will Ferrell as Elf, but it's Tom Hanks.
Just
as
two shovels.
Dylan.
Playing
Okay.
a 16-year-old.
that's what it is. It's gonna be Tom Hanks. I can't come up with. I don't know. Elijah
That's it?
Wood. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe
That's not
it's Lord of the Rings.
I did think
cop-out.
about this because I think they would both. It depends on what they would want to do with the film. But Hunter Schafer or Stephanie Shu,
Ooh,
two
very
different
nice.
calls.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Very
went-
different vibe,
Nice.
but yeah.
I went with Willem Dafoe or the guy who plays House.
Oh, Hugh Laurie.
Hugh Laurie.
Yeah.
And then there was also one that I actually we've designed him off of, and I've forgotten his name.
Jeremy Irons.
Oh,
Jeremy Irons.
yeah.
Jeremy
Yeah.
Irons was my original inspiration visually for what Clue would look like.
Willem Dafoe and Tom Hanks in an elf outfit.
So funny. So that thank you.
Thank you. That's a fun
Thank
one.
you, Janae,
Yeah.
for your question. Really appreciate it. Sorry we made you wait until the last 30 seconds of the episode, but
Yeah.
hope you stuck around. Last question.
It's the real ones that did.
Last question from David again. To cap us off.
David.
Does your group have any plans to do any one shots or short campaigns DM'd by one of the players? Let Chris be free. I think this is something that all of us have DM'd in the past. We all like the idea of doing it.
I haven't DM'd.
I was going to say, Mike,
Oh,
you
you haven't, but you want
dabbled.
to.
I want
Yeah.
to. I want to, but I would not be good at it. But I really want to.
I did our 1.5 year campaign. I've been getting the itch. I think I would wait until this campaign's done, and I would probably want to do some form of like short form, maybe not 100 episode type thing. But I've had ideas on the back burner.
if there's a DM out there that I could use as a medium. Where I just whisper ideas in their mind and they just make it happen.
that's
then-
Chris.
Yeah.
But Chris, you have to
Or
play.
me, or Maggie.
Let Chris be free.
Okay.
Not Michael control Chris to your whimsy.
No, he did write that too.
Oh, he did, right?
Yeah,
there.
he's
It's in
in
brackets.
Yeah.
Thanks, David, for the
Yeah.
question. We'll get back to you.
I think
but
all of us have been thinking about it.
we really,
Yeah.
I want to. I've got a hell of an
It's tough. It's tough to divert from the main campaign. Like
Yeah.
even the last one we did for those two shots, you know, we really want to get back into those characters. So
Yeah.
I think we're not going to see that until we
Campaign
get to
over.
a point where like we all die and then Chris has to figure out what's going to happen next. Or, you know, maybe there's like a big campaign moment that just makes sense to sort of stop there. But I don't really see us like going into something new and out there unless it's like a little sort of like
I think David's
quick one
talking
to-
about like completely set, not in the world
Just like
of Hallow
little
at all.
shot, yeah.
Just, like,
It's just
fun
I think it's just time.
things that we
Yeah.
record.
Like once we
I
have
think-
time to do it, we will do it.
Exactly.
That's it.
I think we
We all
sort of,
want to.
Yeah, we toyed with the idea of like doing potentially like a non-canon Christmas one, which is always fun, like kind of like a holiday-esque one at some point. We don't know if that's going to happen. We don't know what it's like, but for now, you have to wait and see.
Great
Yep.
question.
Thank you for the
Thank you.
question,
Thank you.
David. Final shout outs. We've actually gotten some fan art,
did
some
get
amazing
fan
fan art.
art.
We really wanted to
Thank
shout
you.
out, shout
cool.
out at the Color Blue Makes.
Yes.
John Duan, I think.
Yes.
Say
Thank
his
you
name.
so much.
He has
Really cool.
submitted or posted to Instagram some fan art of what Minx and now what Clue
Yes.
looks
Yeah.
like.
Incredible.
Oh my goodness, we love it.
Incredible. Yeah.
Please send more.
It's
anyone
so
and anyone.
cool to see. Like, that
Um,
just keeps us going, you know?
Yeah.
We have our own little chat where we go, oh my God!
Yeah,
You know,
we-
we're like,
it?
Did you see this?
Yeah.
We
so thank you.
absolutely freak out.
Yes. You light up our lives.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, we are blown away with all of your responses.
Yes.
And with that,
I think we have
I think-
We have one final announcement to make.
yes.
And it is that today or yesterday. Today is
Yesterday.
the 15th. Yesterday was Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Is the official 1 year anniversary of our podcast. Since the moment we started recording, I know we put out our episode in May, our very first one.
We
but-
were delayed.
But from the moment, the conception, us sitting down and getting into gear,
Yep.
it's been a full 1 year of this ride. So we are just so grateful.
I can't believe it. That's
So proud that we were able to get this far, and thank you so much, listeners. You guys talk amongst yourself for one moment.
We did it, guys. We did 1 year.
Happy birthday to
Us.
you.
Us.
He's
Oh,
lighting
us.
a candle.
We did-
Happy
oh.
birthday to us. The candle went out. Happy birthday
to
trouble.
Us. Trouble at the Tavern.
Oh my God.
Happy birthday to
We definitely rehearsed this.
Yeah, we didn't know what we were doing at the end of the
it's the
episode.
Jolly Good Podcast. Oh, it's
Cut
the
it.
Jolly
Okay.
Good
Cut
Podcast.
it.
Thank
Cut
you,
it.
everybody. Thank you for the
Thank
question.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Everybody
next
make
time.
a wish.
Or else.
Thank you.
Bye.
Woo!